First Contact Protocol, Liana Vex, stood at the observation deck of the Kepler research station, her violet eyes scanning the endless void of space through the reinforced transparent aluminum. The station orbited peacefully around Axiom Prime, a world where only females had existed for over 3,000 years. Her species, the Axiomites, had evolved beyond the need for dual-gender reproduction through advanced genetic manipulation, creating a society of brilliant female scientists and explorers. The morning shift had been routine until her bioscanners detected something impossible. A vessel unlike anything in their databases was approaching their system, its hull scarred and smoking from what appeared to be recent combat. The ship's design was crude by Axiomite standards, yet there was something elegant about its functional simplicity. Computer, run a deep scan on the approaching vessel, Liana commanded, her long fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The ship's classification appeared on her screen: unknown origin, unknown technology, and most disturbing of all, unknown biological signatures aboard. The vessel's distress beacon activated, sending automated emergency signals across all frequencies. Liana's training kicked in immediately. As a first contact specialist, she had studied theoretical scenarios involving unknown species, but never expected to encounter them in reality. The Axiomite Confederation had explored dozens of star systems, always finding either lifeless worlds or civilizations remarkably similar to their own. "This is Kepler Station to unknown vessel," she transmitted, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We have received your distress signal. Please identify yourself and state the nature of your emergency." Static filled the communication channel for several moments before a voice responded, deep and resonant in a way that made Liana's ears twitch with confusion. The voice belonged to no species she recognized, carrying tones that seemed to vibrate through the station's hull itself. "Kepler. Station, this is Captain Marcus Rivera of the UES Prometheus," the voice replied, strain evident in every word. "We have suffered catastrophic engine failure during an exploratory mission. Our life support systems are failing, and we have wounded crew members aboard. We desperately need assistance." Liana's bioscanners finished their analysis, and the results made her blood freeze. The vessel contained multiple life forms with genetic signatures that didn't match any known species. More disturbing, the biological patterns suggested something that her people had believed to be mythological: males. The scanners detected chromosomal configurations that existed only in ancient texts and theoretical biology papers. "Computer, verify the biological scan results," she ordered, hoping for an equipment malfunction. "Verification complete. The vessel contains 7 life forms with XY chromosomal patterns," the AI responded with its characteristic musical tone. "These genetic configurations are consistent with historical records of dual-gender species from the Archive of Lost Civilizations." Liana's scientific mind raced with possibilities while her cultural conditioning screamed warnings. According to ancient Axiomite history, dual-gender species were inherently unstable, prone to violence and societal collapse. The presence of males in any population supposedly led to competition, aggression, and ultimately destruction. This was why her ancestors had chosen genetic modification to create their peaceful, unified society. Yet the voice on the communications channel didn't sound violent or aggressive. It sounded tired, desperate, and surprisingly humble. Captain Rivera had identified himself clearly, provided detailed information about his situation, and requested help in terms that suggested a civilized, organized society. "Captain Rivera," Liana responded, her scientific curiosity overriding her cultural programming. "We are dispatching emergency assistance. Please prepare your crew for evacuation procedures. Our medical facilities are equipped to handle various biological requirements." "Thank you, Kepler Station," came the grateful reply. "We weren't sure anyone would respond to our distress call. We're in your debt." As Liana initiated the emergency response protocols, she realized she was about to make history. First contact. with an unknown species was significant enough, but contact with a dual-gender civilization could revolutionize everything her people believed about the universe. The implications were staggering, potentially challenging 3 millennia of social evolution and scientific understanding. The rescue shuttle launched from Kepler Station within minutes, its pilot commander Zara Thorne receiving briefings about the unprecedented situation. As Liana watched the shuttle's progress on her screens, she wondered if this moment would be remembered as the day the Axiomites learned they weren't alone in the universe, or the day they discovered that everything they believed about gender and society might be fundamentally wrong. The impossible rescue breaking. Every rule commander Zara Thorne guided her rescue shuttle through the debris field surrounding the damaged human vessel, her expert piloting skills navigating between twisted metal fragments that sparkled like deadly stars in the void. The UES. Prometheus loomed ahead, its hull breached in multiple places, atmosphere venting into space in crystalline streams that caught the light of distant suns. Prometheus? This is Rescue Shuttle Alpha, Zara transmitted, her voice calm despite the unprecedented nature of her mission. I'm approaching your starboard docking port. Prepare for emergency extraction. Understood, Rescue Alpha, came Captain Rivera's reply. Fair warning. Our artificial gravity is offline, and we're running on emergency power. It's going to be a bumpy entry. Zara had rescued dozens of ships during her career, but never one carrying beings that supposedly shouldn't exist. Her bioscanners confirmed Liana's readings. 7 life forms with impossible genetic signatures, all showing signs of distress from failing life support systems. Whatever these creatures were, they were dying. And that was all that mattered. To her medical training, the docking clamps engaged with a satisfying thunk, and Zara began the delicate process of equalizing pressure between the two vessels. The Prometheus's atmosphere was oxygen-based, remarkably similar to Axiomite requirements, though with subtle differences that her suit's sensors detected and compensated for automatically. Cycling airlock now, she announced, her hand hovering over the controls. Prometheus crew, please ensure all personnel are suited up and ready for immediate evacuation. The airlock finished its sequence, and Zara found herself staring at the inner door that separated her from the impossible. Her cultural conditioning warred with her professional duty, but her oath as a rescue pilot won the battle. She activated the door controls, and the portal slid open to reveal a scene that challenged everything she thought she knew about the universe. Floating in the emergency-lit corridor were 7 beings that looked both alien and familiar. They were clearly humanoid, but with broader shoulders and more angular features than any Axiomite. Their faces showed intelligence, concern for their injured companions, and something Zara had never seen before in any species, what appeared to be facial hair on several of the creatures. Thank the stars, Captain Rivera said, floating nearest to the airlock. He was older than the others, with gray streaking through his dark hair and eyes that held the steady calm of an experienced commander. I wasn't sure we'd make it another hour. Behind him, Zara could see the other crew members, some obviously injured, others working frantically to stabilize their wounded companions. What struck her most was their organization and discipline. These weren't the savage, chaotic beings her people's history described. They were functioning as a coordinated team, putting the welfare of their injured ahead of their own safety. I'm Commander Zara Thorne, she said, pushing aside her amazement to focus on the rescue. We need to move quickly. My shuttle can accommodate your entire crew, but we need to get the seriously injured to medical facilities immediately. Our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. James Park, is unconscious with severe head trauma, Captain Rivera explained, indicating a floating figure secured to a medical stretcher. Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez has internal injuries from the explosion, and Ensign Thompson has a broken arm and possible concussion. Zara's medical training kicked in as she assessed the injured. Despite their alien appearance, their wounds were treatable with standard Axiomite medical technology. We'll get them to our medical bay immediately. Can the others move under their own power? We're mobile, said a younger crew member with lieutenant's stripes on his torn uniform. Chief Engineer Walsh and Communications Officer Bennett are bruised but functional. We can assist with the evacuation. The forbidden knowledge medical miracles and cultural shocks Dr. Nara Caney had treated patients from 17 different species during her career, but nothing had prepared her for the biological anomalies currently occupying her medical bay. The humans, a word that still felt strange to pronounce, were responding to treatment with remarkable resilience, their physiology adapting to axiomite medical technology in ways that defied conventional understanding. Vital signs are stabilizing across all patients, reported her assistant, medical technician Vera Cross, her voice tinged with wonder. The male designated as Dr. James Park is showing exceptional brain activity despite his traumatic injury. His neural pathways are healing at twice the normal rate for any known species. Nara studied the holographic displays showing the humans' internal systems. Their biology was fascinatingly similar to axiomites, yet with crucial differences that made them uniquely resilient. The males showed higher bone density, increased muscle mass, and cardiovascular systems that seemed designed for extreme physical stress. The females displayed enhanced neural connectivity, superior immune responses, and regenerative capabilities that exceeded even axiomite standards. Dr. Caney, came a weak voice from the recovery bay. Captain Rivera was awakening from the mild sedative they'd used during his treatment for minor burns and lacerations. Where are we? Are my crew members safe? You're aboard Kepler Station, Captain, Nara replied, adjusting her medical scanner to accommodate his unique physiological readings. Your crew is receiving the best medical care available. Dr. Park is stable, and his brain functions are returning to normal. The others are healing remarkably well. Rivera attempted to sit up, his eyes immediately scanning the medical bay to check on his crew. Thank you, Doctor. We owe you our lives. I'm still having trouble believing we found another spacefaring civilization, especially one as advanced as yours appears to be. The feeling is mutual, Nara admitted, her scientific curiosity overriding her cultural conditioning. Your species presents biological capabilities we've never encountered. Your healing rates, your physical resilience, your neural complexity. It's all extraordinary. May I ask what makes us so unusual? Rivera inquired, wincing slightly as he moved. We're just humans, nothing special from our perspective. Nara hesitated, unsure how to explain that his entire species represented something her people had, believed to be impossible. Your civilization includes both males and females, correct? Working together, governing together, exploring space together? Of course, Rivera replied, looking puzzled. Has your species evolved differently? We've theorized about single-gender civilizations, but we've never encountered one. Captain Rivera, Nara said carefully, my people have existed as a single-gender society for over 3,000 years. According to our historical records, dual-gender species are inherently unstable, prone to violence and societal collapse. Yet your crew demonstrates cooperation, discipline, and peaceful intentions that contradict everything we've been taught. The human captain's expression shifted from confusion to understanding. Doctor, I think there's been a significant misunderstanding about the nature of our species. Yes, we have conflicts and disagreements, but we've also achieved remarkable things through cooperation. Our space program, our scientific discoveries, our art and culture, they're all products of males and females working together. But the competition, the aggression, the territorial disputes that dual-gender populations supposedly create, how do you manage them? Nara asked, her scientific mind hungry for data that might rewrite her understanding of sociology and biology. Rivera smiled weakly. We channel those impulses constructively. Competition drives innovation. Diversity of perspective leads to better solutions. What you call aggression, we call determination. We've learned to harness our differences rather than let them destroy us. Their conversation was interrupted by alarms from the medical bay's monitoring systems. Dr. Park was awakening, his brain activity showing patterns that Nara had never seen before. The injured human was experiencing what appeared to be accelerated neural healing, his damaged tissues regenerating at an unprecedented rate. "Incredible," Vera whispered, studying the readings. "His brain is actually rewiring itself around the damaged areas, creating new neural pathways in real time. This level of adaptive healing should be impossible." Dr. Park's eyes opened, immediately focusing on his surroundings with the alert awareness of a trained physician. "Captain," he called out, his voice hoarse but strong. "Status report." "We're safe, James," Rivera replied. "We're aboard an alien space station, receiving medical treatment from Dr. Kane and her team. They've saved our lives." Park attempted to sit up, his movements coordinated despite his recent trauma. "Thank you, Doctor. I can feel the treatment working. Whatever technology you're using, it's remarkable." He paused, studying Nara with professional interest. "You're studying us, aren't you? We're as much a curiosity to you as you are to us." "Your species challenges our fundamental understanding of biology and society," Nara admitted. "We've never encountered a dual-gender civilization that achieved space travel without destroying itself. Your very existence suggests that our historical records may be incomplete or inaccurate." "History is written by the survivors," Park observed. "Perhaps the dual-gender civilizations that failed weren't representative of all possible outcomes. Maybe they lacked something essential: cooperation, mutual respect, or simply the right circumstances for success." As Nara continued her examinations, she realized she was witnessing something unprecedented in axiomite history. These humans weren't just biological anomalies. They were living proof that her people's most fundamental beliefs about gender and society might be wrong. The implications were staggering, potentially requiring a complete reevaluation of axiomite culture and science. "Dr. Caney," Captain Rivera said, his voice growing stronger as the medical treatments took effect, "our species have found each other across the vastness of space. This meeting could be the beginning of something extraordinary, a partnership between our civilizations that benefits both our peoples." Looking at the recovering humans, their injured crew members healing with impossible speed, their leader speaking of cooperation and mutual benefit, Nara realized that everything was about to change. The arrival of these impossible beings would transform not just axiomite science, but their entire understanding of what it meant to be sentient, civilized, and alive in the universe. The Council of Revelations, challenging ancient truths, the Grand Council Chamber of Axiom Prime, had never hosted a session quite like this one. High Counselor Thessa Vane stood at the center of the circular amphitheater, her silver hair catching the light of the crystal chandeliers as she addressed the assembled representatives from across the Axiomite Confederation. Before her, displayed on massive holographic screens, were the medical reports, biological scans, and cultural assessments that had arrived from Kepler Station. "Fellow counselors," Thessa began, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had led their people for over 2 decades. "We face an unprecedented situation that challenges the very foundations of our civilization. The beings rescued by our personnel represent something we believe to be impossible, a successful dual-gender society capable of interstellar travel." Murmurs of disbelief and concern rippled through the chamber. Counselor Mira Orenthia, the Confederation's leading sociologist, stood to address the assembly. "High Counselor, with respect, we must consider the possibility that these beings are not what they appear to be. Our historical records clearly document the fate of dual-gender civilizations, chaos, violence, and eventual collapse. Perhaps these creatures are using sophisticated biological disguises." "The medical evidence suggests otherwise," interjected Dr. Kira Volante, the Confederation's chief xenobiologist. "I've reviewed Dr. Kane's reports extensively. These beings show genuine dual-gender biology, with males and females exhibiting complementary physiological traits. Their genetic patterns are consistent with a naturally evolved dual-gender species, not artificial constructs. Counselor Yentha Blackmere, representing the military council, leaned forward in her seat. Regardless of their biological authenticity, we must consider the security implications. These humans claim to represent a larger civilization. If their society is truly stable and capable of space travel, they could pose a significant threat to our worlds. Or, countered Counselor Desta Primarch, the Confederation's ambassador to allied species, they could represent the greatest opportunity for cultural and scientific exchange in our history. Consider what we might learn from a civilization that has successfully integrated both genders. Their achievements in cooperation and technology could revolutionize our understanding of social development. Thessa raised her hand for silence, her expression thoughtful. I have reviewed the reports from Commander Thorne and Dr. Kane. These humans demonstrated remarkable discipline and cooperation during their rescue. Their injured crew members were cared for by their healthy companions, without regard for personal safety. Their leader, Captain Rivera, showed leadership qualities that our own commanders would admire. But what about their ship? Counselor Orenthia pressed. It was damaged by what appeared to be weapons fire. This suggests they come from a violent civilization, one that may have internal conflicts or external enemies. The damage appears to have been caused by a natural phenomenon, reported Science Counselor Nex Varenia, studying the technical analysis. Their ship encountered a quantum storm in an unexplored region of space. The weapons-like damage was actually caused by exotic matter interactions, not deliberate conflict. High Counselor Thessa processed the information, her mind weighing the implications of each revelation. Counselors, we must also consider the timing of this encounter. Our exploratory missions have been searching for intelligent life for centuries. The fact that we found not just another species, but one that challenges our most fundamental assumptions about social evolution, cannot be mere coincidence. What are you suggesting? Asked Counselor Blackmere, her tone cautious. I'm suggesting that perhaps our ancestors' decision to abandon dual-gender society was premature, Thessa replied, her words sending shocked whispers through the chamber. These humans have achieved what our historians claimed was impossible. They've maintained stability, advanced technology, and peaceful cooperation between males and females. If they can do it, perhaps the failures of ancient dual-gender civilizations were due to specific circumstances, not inherent biological incompatibility. Dr. Vellante nodded thoughtfully. The medical data supports this theory. The humans show complementary biological traits that could actually enhance survival and adaptation. Their males display physical resilience and protective instincts, while their females show enhanced cognitive abilities and social coordination. Rather than competing, they appear to have evolved complementary roles. This is dangerous thinking, Counselor Orenthia warned. Our society has thrived for 3 millennia. Because we eliminated the chaos and competition that dual-gender populations create. We've achieved perfect harmony, technological advancement, and peaceful coexistence. Why would we risk that by entertaining notions of returning to biological duality? Because, Thessa said quietly, we may not be as perfect as we believe. Our population growth has stagnated. Our genetic diversity is declining. Our artificial reproduction methods, while effective, lack the natural variation that could help us adapt to changing conditions. Perhaps we've achieved stability at the cost of vitality. The chamber fell silent as the implications of the High Counselor's words sank in. For 3,000 years, the Axiomites had believed they had found the perfect solution to social evolution. They had eliminated war, competition, and conflict by creating a single-gender society based on cooperation and shared purpose. But they had also eliminated the natural genetic variation and adaptive potential that came with dual-gender reproduction. What do you propose? Asked Counselor Primarch, her voice reflecting the mixture of fear and excitement that filled the chamber. I propose we learn from these humans, Thessa declared. We establish formal diplomatic contact. We study their society, their biology, their methods of maintaining stability with dual-gender populations. We approach this as scientists and explorers, not as frightened descendants of a supposedly failed evolutionary path. And if they prove dangerous? Counselor Blackmere asked. Then we deal with that threat when it materializes, Thessa replied. But we cannot let fear of potential dangers prevent us from pursuing what might be the greatest opportunity in our species' history. These humans have shown us that our understanding of social evolution is incomplete. We owe it to ourselves and to future generations to investigate these possibilities. The vote was closer than expected, but the decision was made. The Axiomite Confederation would establish formal diplomatic relations with humanity, beginning with extended cultural and scientific exchanges. The humans would be invited to visit Axiom Prime, while Axiomite researchers would request permission to study human society. As the council session ended, Thessa reflected on the magnitude of what they had decided. The arrival of the humans would change everything, challenging assumptions that had guided their civilization for millennia. Whether that change would bring progress or chaos remained to be seen, but one thing was certain: the Axiomites would never be the same again. New foundations. 6 months after the rescue of the UES Prometheus crew, Kepler Station had been transformed into something unprecedented in Axiomite history, the first diplomatic embassy between their civilization and humanity. Captain Rivera, now fully recovered and serving as Earth's first ambassador to the Axiomite Confederation, stood in the station's newly constructed conference room alongside High Counselor Thessa Vane and a team of researchers from both species. The cultural exchange program has exceeded all expectations, reported Dr. Kane, her enthusiasm evident as she presented the latest findings. We've documented over 300 examples of complementary problem-solving between human males and females, demonstrating that their dual-gender approach often produces superior solutions to single-gender methodologies. Commander Thorne, now serving as the military liaison for the joint program, added her observations. The humans have shared defensive technologies that have enhanced our fleet capabilities by 40%. Their tactical approaches, developed through centuries of managing dual-gender military units, have proven remarkably effective. Dr. Park, who had formed a close working relationship with Axiomite medical researchers, gestured to a holographic display showing genetic analysis. Perhaps most significantly, we've identified potential benefits of genetic exchange between our species. The combination of Axiomite genetic stability with human genetic diversity could produce offspring with enhanced abilities in both physical and cognitive domains. High Counselor Thessa studied the data, her expression reflecting the complex emotions that this revelation generated. You're suggesting that interspecies breeding is not only possible, but potentially beneficial? The preliminary data suggests remarkable compatibility, Dr. Kane confirmed. While the process would require careful medical supervision, the potential for hybrid vigor is substantial. Combined with human dual-gender social structures, we could create communities that maintain Axiomite stability while gaining human adaptability. Captain Rivera leaned forward, his voice careful and diplomatic. We want to be clear that we're not advocating for any specific social changes. The decision of how to incorporate these findings into Axiomite society must be made by your people. We're simply sharing what we've learned from our collaboration. Understood, Thessa replied. But we must acknowledge that this information changes everything. If interspecies breeding is possible, and if dual-gender societies can remain stable, then our ancestors' decision to abandon that path may have been unnecessary. The room fell silent as everyone contemplated the implications. The Axiomite delegation included representatives from various worlds and social groups, each processing how these revelations might affect their communities. Some showed excitement at the possibilities, while others displayed concern about abandoning millennia of successful social evolution. Dr. Lyanna Vex, the xenobiologist who had first detected the human ship, spoke up. "We've observed something remarkable in the joint research teams. The humans naturally form mixed-gender partnerships that enhance their individual capabilities. The males provide physical strength and protective instincts, while the females contribute analytical thinking and social coordination. But more importantly, they challenge each other's assumptions, leading to innovations neither gender might achieve alone." "This contradicts our historical understanding," observed science counselor Verenia, who had joined the station's research team. "Our records suggest that male-female partnerships lead to competition and conflict, not cooperation." "Those records may be incomplete," suggested Dr. Park. "Perhaps the ancient dual-gender civilizations that failed lacked the cultural frameworks necessary for successful cooperation. Human society developed institutions and social norms that channel gender differences constructively rather than destructively." Commander Thorne, who had spent months working closely with the human crew, offered her perspective. "I've observed that human males are not inherently aggressive or competitive. They're protective and determined, but they direct those instincts toward beneficial goals. Captain Rivera's crew demonstrates loyalty, teamwork, and sacrifice for the common good, qualities we value in our own society. The question," Thessa said, "is whether we can integrate these lessons into our civilization without destabilizing the harmony we've achieved. 3,000 years of single-gender society have created deep cultural patterns that cannot be changed overnight. Which is why we propose a gradual approach," Captain Rivera suggested. "We could establish experimental communities on frontier worlds, places where volunteers from both species could explore dual-gender social structures. These communities would serve as laboratories for developing new cultural frameworks that combine the best of both approaches." "Mixed communities," Thessa mused. "Axiomite females working alongside human males and females, learning to function as integrated social units. The implications are staggering." Dr. Kane pulled up genetic projections on the holographic display. "If successful, such communities could produce hybrid offspring with capabilities that exceed either parent species. Enhanced physical resilience, superior cognitive abilities, and social instincts that naturally promote cooperation over competition." "But the risks," Counselor Verenia interjected. "What if the ancient warnings prove correct? What if introducing males into our society triggers the competitive behaviors that our ancestors feared? Then we learn from those failures and adapt," Rivera replied. "Human civilization has faced countless challenges throughout our history. We've survived wars, natural disasters, and social upheavals by learning from our mistakes and evolving our approaches. The key is maintaining the flexibility to change course when necessary." The conference continued for hours, with both species sharing their perspectives on the challenges and opportunities ahead. By the end of the session, they had reached a consensus. They would proceed with the experimental community program, carefully monitoring the results while maintaining safeguards to protect both civilizations. As the participants prepared to depart, Thessa approached Captain Rivera privately. "Captain, I want you to know that your arrival has been the most significant event in Axiomite history since our ancestors first achieved space travel. Whether this leads to a new golden age or unforeseen challenges, it will certainly be transformative." Rivera smiled, his expression reflecting the weight of responsibility he carried. "High Counselor, I believe we're witnessing the birth of something unprecedented, a truly interspecies civilization that combines the strengths of both our peoples. The road ahead won't be easy, but the potential rewards are beyond imagination." Looking out at the stars through the conference room's viewport, both leaders contemplated the future they were helping to create. The first joint expedition ships were already under construction, carrying mixed crews of humans and axiomites to establish the experimental communities that would test the boundaries of what was possible. The age of single-species civilizations was ending. In its place, something new and unprecedented was beginning. A partnership between worlds that would challenge everything both species thought they knew about society, biology, and the future of intelligent life in the galaxy.